Hello everybody, this is Mrs. Bear from the Old Bear's Den of Bigfoot channel here with Mr. Bear, Old Bear, here to give you an account, a very disturbing discount that comes from West Virginia.
Give her a hand, everybody. She did a real good job. This is the Old Bear, and we're on the Old Bear's Den of Bigfoot. And today we have an encounter that has lasted for over 6 months. And that 6-month period, it went from something being pushed 30 feet to sticks and rocks being thrown at a log cabin. And as you can see, Mr. Bigfoot has paid us a visit today, and he's stealing the pink flamingo. Thieves. Bad Bigfoot. Anyway, let's get to the encounter. In this encounter, it happens in the county where I saw my first Bigfoot in 1983, or was it 84? I think it was 83. December 3rd of 1983. They starts very innocuously, meaning that they didn't see a Bigfoot before they did what they started to do. This person bought a piece of property here in West Virginia, and we used to hunt on that property when I was younger. Now, I know the property very well because we hunted there for 20 years after I started deer hunting with my dad and my uncles and my cousins, and just a family affair. Hunted that piece of property quite a many a times. And this gentleman bought 100 acres in there. And the place it is known as Barn Hollow. Now, when I was younger and after I found out about Bigfoot at age 16, at age 21, I went back into Barn Hollow to deer hunt with my family, and went in there and found what could have been construed as nests. Not one, not two, but 3 nests in this old barn. Now, this used to be farmland, and they had a barn in there for hay and everything else, and they had stalls in it. And the stalls, there was only 3 stalls in it. And it's a very large, well-constructed barn, and it was standing the last time I was that far up in Barn Hollow, which was about 1.5 miles. Now, once we got in, they bought this piece of property. They rented a piece of equipment, a dozer, a D9 dozer. You know how big those are. The blade of them is almost as big, wide as the truck my pickup is long. And the blade on them stands taller than me. It's about 6 foot tall, 6.5 feet tall. They're a very large dozer. They're way up there in weight. Now, this gentleman, he has run equipment when he was younger, and now he is way up in a company in Ohio, and that's all I'll say about that. Now, they bought this piece of property because he's originally from West Virginia. See, we have smart people here too.
Yes.
Anyways, he bought this piece of property, and him and his wife decided to put a log cabin up on this property, just a vacation home. It's a quiet, peaceful area, or it has been in the past. There's quite a few deer around there. There's raccoon, possum, turkey, so on and so forth. A bunch of squirrels, red squirrel, gray squirrel, and maybe a few black squirrels. So he got this piece of equipment dropped off, and him and his two sons. They had two children. Both of them are fully grown. Both are in relationships. One is married. The other one's getting married. So they're in their middle 20s. So they helped their dad out by cutting the trees down, and he dug the road, or made the road down into the piece of property. Now he shoved all these stumps. Now the woods that are there are white oak, red oak, beech, hickory, and pine. There is a couple of sections of pine on his property. Now the house seat was in a pine grove surrounded by oaks and hickory trees and beech trees. It was a wonderful place to go and deer hunt. Deer would come in it because of the nuts from the hickory and the white oak and the red oak. And, they don't eat very many beech. So it's a great place to squirrel hunt, too, because squirrels love beech nuts. And like I said, I've hunted that piece of property multiple times throughout my younger days, up until I was about 30 years old. So once he cut the road in, they went to work on the house seat. Now, they flattened a lot of ground in there. There was a flat in there, but it wasn't very wide. So they dug into the hillside to make a considerable yard, and they got it all flattened out, cut. They got another piece of equipment, dug the footer for the log cabin. And now it was 3 foot deep by 3 foot wide, the footer was. And they put 2 huge metal posts in at the mouth of the road. Now they did that on a Friday. They poured the footer on Friday and poured the posts on Friday. They filled both posts. They put in a 12-inch pipe. I think it was 12-inch, could have been an 18-inch pipe on each side of the road, and they graveled it. And they used the dozer to pull the concrete trucks out of there when they poured the footers. Now, he had someone else do the footers. They showed up Friday morning, got set up, got ready, and they had concrete coming at 11 o'clock, and it took them over 20 yards to pour the footers for the house. It's a pretty good-sized house. Or cabin, as they put it. To me and you, it'd probably be a house. Now, they got the house built, and while it was being built, strange things started happening. Tools started disappearing. Levels, stuff like that would disappear. Shovels would disappear. Hammers would disappear. And then they would find them a day or two later somewhere else on the job site as they were doing the logs for this home. Now, all the trees that he cut, he reused them and used them as the walls for the house. And, of course, the rafters had to be brought in and all that stuff was done. And they got the house finished inside and out. There were 3 doors on the lower level. All of them are heavy, reinforced steel doors. There's no windows on the first level. Now, it's a 2-story house or cabin. And the upper story, the lower story has a washroom where they did all the washing. And they had a well dug and put a well in. And the water that they were pulling, they had to pull it from well over 150 feet up the hill into the house. Now, it's well water. And they would wash clothes there if they stayed for extended periods of time, which they did. So, at this point, they got the cabin done. I keep saying house, but they call it a cabin. And they got it all done. And inside the house, on the first floor, is a washroom, which is also the mudroom. When it rains, you go in that door and you take your boots off or your shoes off to keep the mud from going into the house. Now, the bottom part of the house It's above ground. It's all above ground. There's nothing below ground. So they had the house built to suit them. Lower level, 3 steel reinforced doors. The lower level has the washroom that I mentioned. It also has a bathroom downstairs, a small bathroom, a half bath. And it has the kitchen and Mrs. Bear, what else was the other room? It was like a rec room, wasn't it? It had like a pool table and all that stuff in it.
Yes.
All right, and then upstairs they had a master bedroom with a master bath, a living room, which looked out on their balcony that they had built, and the roof covered the balcony. It extended out across the balcony. Now, the balcony is big enough for 15, 20 people to stand on and nobody be touching. And that's how big of a balcony they had. It pretty much stretched from one end of the house down to the other end. Now, the living room was situated in the middle of the house, and it had glass windows and glass doors that went out onto the balcony. And they would cook out on that balcony and stuff like that when they had family gatherings or something of that nature, and they went out there. They started building this house in late August of last year, and stuff started happening in the week of Thanksgiving. Strange stuff started disappearing. In the other end of the house, there are 2 smaller bedrooms, and there is a bathroom between the two bedrooms. So the family is, it's a small family, a mom and dad and 2 sons and their 1 wife and 1 fiance. And they went out, and after the home was done, they had a small party. And the night that they had the small party, they heard something walking through the woods. And he had floodlights installed on the back side of the house, on 2 sides of the house. One that pointed towards the holler, which would have been the right side of the house, where the mudroom is at. And then the back of the house, just above the balcony, they had floodlights installed and pointed out towards the woods. Pay attention to that. There's a reason they did this, and a reason they didn't have any windows downstairs. So they saw, the father went in and put the floodlights on, and they saw 3 different creatures, Bigfoot, walking up the hillside towards the Ridge Road. They never stopped and looked at him. Even when the lights come on, they just kept moving and right on up the hill. Now, one of them was gray. One was a dark brown in color, and it was noticeably smaller than the gray one. And then there was a big black one that was bringing up the rear. And it was bigger than the gray one and the reddish brown one. I suspect it was probably the alpha male. And because of this, they all went into the house, took all the food that they had, and went in the house and went in the living room and shut the curtains and turned the lights off, and nothing else happened that night. Now that was in December, or December is when they had right around Christmas time, between Christmas and New Year's, I think it was. They had their little party of just a family there christening the home. So at that point, nothing happened for a couple of months. They never saw nothing, never heard anything. They had been out there a couple of times, once in January, once in February, and then when March rolled around, they went back out as a whole family. And the night they went back out as a whole family, they heard the woods went silent. No crickets, no tree frogs. It's spring, and there's none of the springtime noises going on. No owls, no nothing. And everything's super quiet, and they heard what they believed to be a Bigfoot screaming or doing a howl in close proximity to the home. Now, this sent them all back inside because they didn't want to deal with it. So, at that point, everything's still okay. There's nothing going on. And here, just a month ago, back in June, everything changed. Now, they had been out there from March until June, off and on about every other week, and never had any trouble. Now, when they come back, just a husband and wife came, and when they came back in June, that night was a Thursday night, nothing happened. They got there late, right at dark. They heard what they thought may have been an owl, but they're not 100% sure that it was an actual owl because it sounded too deep for a regular type owl, and there was no inflection in the hoots. Ho, 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 something like that. So, Friday night rolls around. They went to town on Friday to over to Elizabeth in West Virginia, and went there and got groceries. There's a small store there. They pick up groceries there all the time, and they know people in Elizabeth, and they spoke to them, and they had a pretty good day out together, and they went to the local dairy bar and had lunch together. So at that point, they went home with their food and got everything carried in, and nothing went on. But about 11 o'clock at night, they heard a loud bang on the side of the log home. Now, the log home is well constructed. I mean, it's made out of oak and, hickory trees, not beech, but pine. The lower level is all hickory, or not hickory, but oak, white oak and red oak, which is a very dense wood. And the upper part of the house is done out of pine. They cut down the pines to put the home in, and they used them for the second story. And at this point, they got up out of bed and went downstairs thinking somebody needed help, and he went to the front door, and there was no one there, no human there. Then there was another loud bang on the back wall of the lower level. And then they started hearing boom, 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 boom. Something was throwing rocks at the home. So, this kind of scared them. They got, the gentleman had a gun with him, a firearm, and, him and the wife went upstairs, sat in the living room, and turned all the lights on the house. And when they turned the lights on, all this stopped. And then a couple hours later, when they turned the lights off, it started again. So, and I'm forgetting something to inform you. When they got the footers done and the posts concreted in, that night they parked a D9 dozer up towards the hillside. And they left because he had some kind of a family thing going on Saturday. Him and the wife went home Friday evening after they got everything done, and everybody left. And they parked the D9 dozer towards the hillside. Now, they didn't come back until the following weekend. But on Tuesday night into Wednesday, it poured the rain. Now, they had found footprints there before in the new cut road and in the house site. Well, the D9 dozer got shoved 30 feet. And they found a total of 34 different prints there at that house. Now, it was in red clay mud, And they don't know if they did it Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, but you could tell when they got there and looked at the dozer, there were muddy prints of some type all over the dozer. Like a few of them had been climbing all over the dozer. Now, it was an open seat dozer. It did not have a cab on it. And when they got there, that was the day that they were supposed to come and get the D9 dozer. Now, they did not have a water hose to wash it off, so no one would ask questions. And he called and informed the person that he rented the dozer from that there was mud all over the dozer, and he didn't have a way to wash it. And the guy told him, "Don't worry about it. It's no big deal. It's expected to be dirty." Well, the tractor trailer shows up to haul this dozer out, and there is another truck there to haul the blade out. They disconnected the blade and brought the dozer up the driveway, which is rocked. And if you know anything about red clay mud here in West Virginia, it's as slick as snot on top of water. So, they had a little bit of trouble getting it up the hill, but it got right up, it went up the hill. And when they turned the dozer, they obliterated a lot of footprints that were in the mud. So they never took pictures of the partial prints that may have been left there. Now, knowing that, and knowing that stuff started hitting the house just a month ago, they haven't been back. And they have asked that I go out and see if there is something that has upset these Bigfoot. Now, I know a few things about that area, and there are certain people that go out there to Bigfoot and do a lot of tree knocking. Evidently, they have upset a clan that lives there in that area, and they have ticked them off, and now they're taking it out on the homeowner, not wanting them there. So, I hope that whoever went out there does not go back. Me and the wife are taking a road trip next weekend. She's smiling. But don't worry, we will be safe. We'll be out there in daylight. We ain't gonna go at night. I would never jeopardize my wife. If it was just me, I don't worry too much about it. But she's going to be with me. She's going to be running the camera. And what we find, you will get to see. If we find anything. But I hope that we do. And I hope y'all enjoy it. And you probably will be getting a new video next week. So I hope you enjoy this. Leave me your comments. Speculate on this one. I expect you all to at least give me some idea of why these Bigfoot got upset. If you think it was the people doing Bigfooting, or do you think it was because of the home being put in, and these people all of a sudden are coming there quite often. So let me know what you think. Let me know what your feelings are on this one, and I hope y'all enjoy it, and may God bless each and every one of you every day of your lives and watch over you and protect you like he does me and Mrs. Old Bear. And it's not Barbie Bear. Go ahead, Mrs. Old Bear.
Well, Mrs. Bear says, I hope everybody is blessed and well, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and leave your comments and likes, even hearts if you want to. We love you guys.
Bye-bye.